Militarily Speaking, episode 80, Cell Phones for Soldiers.
This episode, we talk with Rob Bergquist, co-founder and director with Cell Phones for Soldiers.
Welcome to Militarily Speaking, brought to you by Armed Forces Bank. This is Tom McLean and Jodi Vickery. I'm the military retail executive for the company, and Jodi is the chief digital officer.
I am. Again, welcome to our show. We're excited to have you listening and learning all about our guest, Rob Bergquist. Before we get going, Rob, I do want to tell our audience a little bit about you. Hopefully it is all true. If not, feel free to interrupt.
We didn't get this directly from him. So
no, it did come from a sibling, I think. So That's very brave.
And he trusts his siblings after all this time together.
Very brave to let your sibling provide your bio, I would have to say. So I'm going to read it as provided. So Rob Bergquist is the co-founder and executive director of Cell Phones for Soldiers, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to providing cost-free communication services and emergency funding to active duty military members and veterans. The organization's origins trace back to 2004, when Rob and his sister Brittany, then were just 12 and 13 years old, were moved by a news story about a soldier returning from Iraq with an $8,000 phone bill. Motivated by the belief that no one serving their country should be unable to call home, the siblings pooled their savings and began fundraising in their Massachusetts community, ultimately paying off the soldier's bill and launching what would become a transformative nonprofit. From its humble beginnings with just $21, Cell Phones for Soldiers has grown into a family-run organization that has provided more than 450 million minutes of free talk time to service members deployed around the world. The nonprofit's core programs include Minutes That Matter, which supplies international calling cards to deployed troops, and Helping Heroes Home, which offers emergency financial assistance to veterans and their families during times of crisis. The organization's impact is made possible through the collection and recycling of used cell phones and electronics, a model that not only funds its services, but also reduces electronic waste. Over 25 million phones have been responsibly recycled to date. That's a big number. Under Rob's leadership, Cell Phones for Soldiers has continued to evolve to meet the changing needs of the military community. Most recently, he spearheaded the launch of the Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile program, which provides free smartphones and a year of paid service to veterans in need. The initiative helps veterans stay connected to vital resources, seek employment, access healthcare, and maintain ties with loved ones as they transition to civilian life. The organization's goal is to connect 30,000 veterans in the next 3 years through this rapidly expanding program. His commitment to service and innovation is rooted in his own background. Growing up in Norwell, Massachusetts, in a family of public school teachers, he learned the value of community and giving back at an early age. His experience founding and running a nonprofit as a teenager inspired him to pursue a business degree at the Eisenberg School of Management at UMass Amherst, equipping him with the skills to lead Cell Phones for Soldiers into its third decade. Today, Rob remains at the helm of Cell Phones for Soldiers, driven by a passion for supporting military families and a vision for sustainable, impactful service, and his work continues to bridge the gap for those who serve, ensuring that no service member or veteran is left without a lifeline to home. Welcome, Rob. It's an honor to have you on our show. Thank you for being with us. I'd love to have you tell our audience a little bit about your organization, just big picture, maybe the beginnings of it. I know we've just gone through your bio and shared some of that as well, but I'd love to hear that in your own words.
Yeah, Jodi and Tom, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to join a podcast that's interested in learning about organizations like Cell Phones for Soldiers. So I'm proud to be on the show today, and thank you for having me. So Cell Phones for Soldiers really was kind of started at our kitchen table. My sister Brittany and I were 12 and 13. I was 12, Brittany was 13. We were getting ready for middle school one morning. And every morning that we got ready for school, my parents would have the local news broadcast just playing the news. And we're going about our morning and we hear this story of a soldier serving in Afghanistan who was calling home to his family. And before he knew it, he had rung up an $8,000 cell phone bill through roaming charges. He didn't know that there was roaming charges. He was connecting to a local landline, and then the roaming international charges just piled up. So he was getting phone calls around the holidays. It was right around Thanksgiving that he was getting these phone calls from the carrier telling him to pay this large cell phone bill. And he went to the news and we heard that story. So I had two cousins who were actively deployed at the time. One was in Iraq, one was in Afghanistan, and we hadn't heard from them in over 2 weeks. And so combined with this story of a soldier with an $8,000 cell phone bill and not being able to hear from our cousins, we just stopped in our tracks and we're like, what the heck is going on overseas? And we initially just wanted to do our small part. So we ran upstairs, we got our piggy bank money, we brought it down, and we went to school that day. We asked our classmates for some additional cash that they might have had for school lunch money. And we came up with $21 after that first day. We went to our parents and said, hey, here's $21 for this guy. And my parents, being school teachers and being the great mentors that they are, really harnessed that we wanted to support and got us connected with our local bank. We opened up a bank account. The bank thought it was such a great idea. They gave us $500 and waived all of the account fees for us to get started. And we were off and running. We held car washes and bake sales in our hometown of Norwell, Massachusetts. And our community really gravitated around us to help us with this initiative. And after the car washes and the bake sales, we were successful in getting over $8,000 in donations to pay off this phone bill. When we were successful in raising that money, the story really took off. And what I like to say is we went viral before viral was even a thing. 2004, viral wasn't even coined yet, but that's what happened because we had a great story. I mean, we were, again, a brother and sister, 12 and 13 years old. We're solving this really unique challenge that is facing our active duty service members. And obviously the Iraq and Afghanistan wars were gravitating the news cycle. So any positive news story really took off, and we're very grateful for that. So we were featured on some major national broadcasts, and we announced our initiative, and we started to call ourselves Cell Phones for Soldiers because we were helping a soldier with his cell phone bill. We did not know when we named ourselves that other branches of the military would feel isolated, that we were only supporting the Army, but we do support all branches of the military. But we just said Cell Phones for Soldiers because, again, it was simple and we were helping a soldier with his cell phone bill. People took that name and they associated it with donating their cell phones because they thought we would put service onto the cell phones and we'd send them overseas. Well, we announced that Cell Phones for Soldiers was going to take donated cell phones and put minutes on them and send them overseas. And when we announced that, I think we were on CNN. And when we announced that, before we even got home from the studio, my dad got a call from the Department of Defense. A general called my father and said, sir, your kids need to cease and desist their operation. It's a national security hazard.
Oh.
And so my dad thought it was his brother-in-law and told the guy that. And the general certainly reassured my father that he was indeed who he said he was. And of course, we complied. And we were like, well, what are we going to do with all of these cell phones? We had a couple thousand at the time. And we decided that we would recycle the cell phones in order to generate revenue to then go and buy prepaid calling cards that we could send overseas around the world. The calling cards were 60 minutes of true talk time, and they were used with a landline to ensure that all phone calls would be securely made back to America. So that's really, Cell Phones for Soldiers is very much a story of like not having a business plan and just kind of launching and pivoting as like different things came about. And that's certainly true of what happened in the beginning. And we really created through kind of trial and error and just stumbling upon it, that's recycling and selling cell phones in order to generate revenue was a brilliant way for us to differentiate ourselves in the nonprofit world. Basically, where one man's trash is another man's treasure, we're able to create value in what a lot of people and a lot of corporations don't want or need or know what to do with anymore, which is their old cell phones. And we're able to convert those cell phones and put them to good use and use those funds to ultimately subsidize phone calls home. And we can get into it later, but now subsidizing phone service for veterans. So it was really, those early days were wild for my sister and I. We were very much like child stars. I mean, we were balancing going to school and then flying to New York to do like major press events.
Oh, wow.
And in conjunction with AT&T, launching this national campaign for for cell phone collection and really getting the story out there of what we were trying to do. So those early years, they were crazy, they were fun, and we've been around now for 21 years, which is crazy. So I'm 33 now. I've been doing this my entire life, and it's still very much a family-run organization. But yeah, those early years were a lot of fun.
I would love to be a fly on the wall when the general called your dad.
I know. But, when they're 12 and 13, then they're 14, 15, 16, 17, still thinking about the business, still going to school, still being a good kids and a great family. I mean, that's awesome. And so when you had to go back to I'm going to go off script here, imagine that. When you had to go back to like phone cards, right? And you put 60 minutes on it, then at some point, did it come back to say cell phones for soldiers is okay?
Yeah. So cell phones for soldiers was fine as long as we didn't send those cell phones overseas and we turned it into phone cards. Yeah, that became our bread and butter, and we sent over 8 million prepaid calling cards around the world, over 450 million minutes, so that actively deployed service members could make phone calls home for free. And those phone cards were used to connect on the major holidays that we all enjoy here at home. I mean, it allowed service members to sit down at the Thanksgiving dinner table. It allowed service members to open up Christmas presents on Christmas. They heard their child's first words with our phone cards. And we heard from Gold Star families that it was the last time they spoke to their son or daughter or husband or wife was with our phone cards. So just crazy, impactful stories of just connection, communication, how important that is. A phone call home when you're actively deployed is a game changer for your overall mental health and ability to connect with home and just feel that home is right there. It can make all the difference when you're actively deployed.
I think whether it's a care package, whether it's letters sent, the phone calls, that's another part of the communication and connection process. So it's almost like you filled a void, and to pivot your business as a teenager with no business plan after a cease and desist call is pretty cool. So yeah, for 20 years, it's I guess it's who you are, right? This is your career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think obviously my parents play a major role in being there to guide us through those difficult first few years of trying to establish like who we are and allowing us to pivot and be successful in the pivot. My parents really are owed all the credit. I mean, really early on, my sister and I didn't have any business knowledge or sense, and so we were the show ponies, as like we like to say. And
go to New York, go to California, go.
Exactly. And my parents were really the ones that were facilitating on the back end, making sure we had the correct partners to responsibly recycle these donations with the correct calling card partner to negotiate the best rates for the charity. I mean, my parents were the ones that were making those deals, all while being school teachers. I mean, they were going to school, and I remember my parents, as soon as they had a free period, they were making calls to the calling card partner. I mean, they were truly balancing, fulfilling their role as a teacher and running this national nonprofit.
We'll get into the family business later, because there's a question I'm going to ask him about that. But let's talk specifically, sort of logistically about the phone donation process itself. Rob, do you want to go through that logistically with our audience?
Yeah. So Cell Phones for Soldiers solicits donations of cell phones, tablets. We really don't go above a tablet, because if you tried to ship a laptop to us, it actually literally outweighs the revenue that we could generate off of that laptop. So our bread and butter is cell phones and tablets. We also accept any of the accessories that come with the cell phone. So chargers, cases, we'll take it all. And even if we can't repurpose the accessories or the chargers, we will responsibly recycle those. And in terms of the cell phone, so we have over 3,000 drop-off locations where people can either go and drop off their cell phones at a small business, libraries, police stations that have come on board and said they would donate or accept donations of phones on behalf of the charity. So you can go and drop off your phones at those locations, or you can mail them right to our facility. Our facility is based in Austin, Texas. And so that's where we receive all the donations of cell phones and tablets. Basically, we'll open up that package based off the make, model, and condition of the phone. We will either do one of a few things. We will either responsibly recycle. That's if it's an older phone that can't be put back out onto the networks. That's just, it's an old flip phone. We will responsibly recycle that. And based off the weight is how we generate revenue off the scrap value. So those phones will be responsibly scrapped. Or if the phone can be refurbished and resold, we will also try to do that. So if we get donated an iPhone 14 or an iPhone 15, we're going to try to refurbish that phone and resell it for the most amount of money possible so that we can go out and then buy 10 or 15 entry-level smartphones that we ultimately distribute to the veterans. So, we're never going to refurbish and repurpose an iPhone 14 or 15. It just doesn't make sense to put that in the hands of a low-income or homeless veteran. We're going to try to do the most good with the donations that come in. So an entry-level smartphone gives the veteran everything that they need to be successful and connect with their community. They don't need an iPhone 14 or 15. So we'll responsibly refurbish and resell that newer model phone, or we'll try to repurpose the devices. So if there's an iPhone 8 that is donated to Cell Phones for Soldiers, we'll try to refurbish that and put that directly in the hands of a veteran. That's kind of our sweet spot, is N-4, so N being an iPhone 16. So back to an iPhone X or an iPhone 8. Those are the kinds of phones that we try to repurpose and put directly in the hands of low-income and homeless veterans so that they can stay connected. So either recycle, we'll try to resell, or we'll try to repurpose and put directly in the hands of the veteran. Right now, we're receiving about 10,000 phones per month in Austin, and looking to obviously increase the amount of donations that we receive by partnering with corporations and individuals that have those donations. And the more phones we collect, the more veterans we can connect.
Yeah, I have to believe companies are a good target audience for what you're doing.
So definitely.
It just feels great. And my brother just got rid of his flip phone not too long ago. Just an interesting fact for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what version phone I have.
I know, I've got like an iPhone 6 or 8. So, Rob, the website is www.cellphonesforsoldiers.com. And if they want to find out where one of the 3,000 drop locations are, they can go to your site, right? And pull that up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Go to our website. We have a drop-off locator where you can plug in your zip code and find a location that's nearest to you. If there's no convenient locations, they can print out a prepaid mailing label. We'll subsidize the shipping to get those phones to us. So all they got to do is just put those phones into a sturdy shipping container, an old Amazon box, tape it up, get that label on there, and then UPS will scan that label and it ships directly to our facility.
Very good. Very good. So I'm curious a little bit about, you shared a lot about the history of the organization, which is really interesting to hear from the beginnings, but how has it continued to evolve? I mean, you've talked about where the genesis of it is from, then how the name of it came to be, but you've also moved into your Helping Heroes Home program, opportunities to help with other financial needs that a family might have outside of something related to cell phones or communication devices. How have you arrived at your current mix of services? And do you have things that you see on the horizon as sort of the next thing to add?
Yeah, so we've been around for 21 years. So obviously that's a long period of time to serve one community, but we listen to the veterans, we listen to the active duty service members and just try to provide the service that really is required for this community. And for the first, I would say 18 years of Cell Phones for Soldiers, we were really focused on the calling cards and providing free calls home for actively deployed service members. But we've really seen the calling card requests go from 10,000 a week at one point we were getting for calling cards down to about 1 or 2 a week. That's really where the requests have gone. And that's because of a number of factors, kind of macro factors, that there's more access to Wi-Fi capabilities. I mean, we're having this discussion right now over the internet, and the infrastructure has really matured to a point where calling cards aren't required as much as they were back in the mid to early 2000s. And so that's great. I mean, that's almost like mission accomplished for Cell Phones for Soldiers. Like, we did what we could when those calling cards were really necessary because there was no other form of communication out there. So the calling cards really served their purpose during those years. And now we added Helping Heroes Home because we've created this great engine of recycling and repurposing and reselling cell phones to generate revenue. And so we wanted to get those funds back into the hands of the community we serve. And so we started Helping Heroes Home back in 2012 to provide emergency assistance for veterans that are coming home and they have a bill that they just can't afford to pay, whether that was keeping their lights on, a mortgage payment, it's dental bills, car payments, just things to get people by to the next month. And so we've supported over 7,500 veterans and their families with emergency grants since 2012. And now that program really focuses on delinquent phone bills. So getting back to the connectivity, we provide emergency grants to veterans that might be in delinquent phone bills, whether that's T-Mobile or AT&T, a major carrier that they've just fallen behind on. We'll pay off their phone bill and then get them onto our Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile program so they can get out of that debt, out of that bad phone bill, and over to Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile, where we subsidize the first year of phone service, and that's Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile. So we launched that about a year ago. Cell Phones for Soldiers provides low-income and homeless veterans that apply through our website 1 year of unlimited talk, text, and data, and a free entry-level smartphone. After that year, the veteran matriculates and graduates off of that plan, and we get them onto a paid plan, but it's heavily subsidized and discounted for the veteran so that they never get back into that delinquent phone bill that costs them $50 or $100 a month that they just shouldn't be on in the first place. So a lot of Cell Phones for Soldiers is educating the community that, hey, there are cheaper options out there. You don't need to be on the major carriers. There are more affordable ways to get that same exact connectivity. And Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile is a great option for them.
Kind of touched on Helping Heroes Home and that Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile. That just launched with, like you said, recently.
That launched recently, so that's about a year old, and we have currently 3,500 veterans that are using our cell phones in our phone service. We are looking to scale this program, and we have budgeted out to have 10,000 veterans on our cell phone service by the end of this year. In the next 3 years, we hope to be at 30,000 veterans, and I certainly see in the next 5 years that Cell Phones for Soldiers will not just be a program for low-income and homeless veterans, but we're going to get to a stage where Cell Phones for Soldiers will be able to have veterans that can afford to pay for their own cell phones and phone service now have a portion of their phone bill go to help the Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile program. So it's veterans helping veterans with their cell phone service. And so that's when you create a community, that's when you create sustainability. And that's really our trajectory with this program, is to create a mobile community of veterans helping veterans by just being connected and helping each other out. So that's our 5-year plan. But I'm fully confident that we'll be able to get there.
I love that.
He's well ahead of his time. So you talked about like an application process or a qualification process, right? So I'm not going to just let my phone bill go delinquent and think that you're going to be there to save me, right? So there's a process you use to underwrite or qualify people that are eligible either from low to moderate income or from a certain standard you put in place?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of different organizations scattered across the country that are supporting the veterans on the ground level. So we try to work with veteran service officers that are caseworkers that are at VAs or other military nonprofits, just to confirm that the veterans truly requiring this service, they can validate the situation that they're in and say, hey, here's their DD-214, their honorable discharge papers, and just qualify them through those simple processes. Once they submit that application, we kind of review it and just make sure that this is an issue that we can support with. And once that's approved, we'll make that payment to the carrier and get them over to Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile.
Thank you. That wasn't part of today's discussion, but you just got me inspired, so I had to ask you that question.
You done now, Tom?
I'm finished.
Just checking. So as we've done this podcast, I can't believe we're on episode 80 already. Or some days I could actually believe we're on episode 80.
You're trying to get to a certain number where you can just quietly exit, right?
Yeah,
There's that.
There's that. Just kidding. We've met a lot of really awesome human beings, organizations along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like-minded with everything that you're sharing about the heart of your organization. And I think that would definitely benefit, maybe even from connecting with you and your organization. Do you have other nonprofits that you partner with where you can plug in what you do to what they do to help veterans in a very holistic way? I mean, like, for example, one of our partnerships is with Veterans Community Project. They build the tiny homes, veterans villages, and they have a similar philosophy, I think, as you, where it's trying to help from a lot of different angles, get a homeless vet back on their feet.
And they also have that operations center, right? So medical, dental, or how to write a resume, maybe financial help. It's like a destination for veterans with no bias, right?
Right.
And just walk in and we'll help you. And it almost feels like that connection could be with Rob.
Mm-hmm. And so do you partner with organizations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we partner with a lot of different nonprofits that we just want to be the bridge. We just want to be the connectivity to allow veterans that are in the community of these nonprofits that just might not know that this service is afforded to them, that they're looking to help veterans. And we're just trying to create that bridge between the nonprofits and the veteran by giving them the device. It's so much more than just a cell phone and service. It's truly a connection to possibilities, to all these resources that are afforded to our veteran community that they just might not know about. And so we want to, Cell Phones for Soldiers Mobile is not just about the veterans, connecting the veterans. It's about connecting the veteran service officers and the caseworkers and the nonprofits that are trying to reach these veterans, but they don't have a cell phone number. They don't have contact information for these veterans. As soon as they walk out of the door of the VA, the veteran service officer doesn't know where they go and can't communicate until they show up again. We've heard that over and over since we launched this program. And so many veteran service officers and caseworkers are really grateful for this program and looking for us to expand it so that they can connect with more veterans. And so we're always trying to connect with veterans, connect with caseworkers and other nonprofits, and just be that communication solution for them. So anywhere that there's a shelter, providing the cell phones to the shelter, or where they're providing other services, we again just want to be that communication solution.
Yep, that makes total sense. Hey everyone, we've got something special for our military listeners today.
Absolutely. If you're in the market for a new home, you've got to check out Armed Forces Bank's VA loans. They're designed specifically for you with competitive rates, no PMI, and no down payment required. And as an approved VA lender with VA certified underwriters, all decisioning is done in-house, which creates a more streamlined experience for veterans.
At Armed Forces Bank, about 75% of our team is affiliated with the military, so we know what it's like to serve. We've been supporting military families for over 100 years, so we've got your back every step of the way.
Whether you're active duty, a veteran, or a reservist, we are here to make your home buying process smooth and stress-free. And with our mortgage service guarantee, we'll close your loan on time or pay you $1,000.
So if you're ready to move into your dream home, head over to afbank.com or visit a branch near you. Armed Forces Bank, serving those who serve.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC, subject to credit approval. VA funding fee may apply. VA loan qualification guidelines apply. Third-party closing costs apply. Owner-occupied property only.
And where we're heading is kind of phase 2, phase 3 is a Cell Phones for Soldiers mobile application. So we're going to put that app onto all of the devices that the veterans receive. And so when they get their phone, they're not only going to get an entry-level smartphone and 1 year of unlimited talk, text, and data, they're also going to get an application that they can click on that finds, based off their geolocation, all of the services that are afforded to them and the distance, the point of contact. It'll have all of that information. So it's just a click of a button. We do the legwork for the veteran, and they can find real solutions that get them back on their feet for whatever they are dealing with. So we truly want success stories from this community. We want to get them back on their feet. We don't just want to give them a cell phone and call it a day and,
Right.
Transactional. Yeah.
Transactional. We truly want these success stories. We want the connections to be made to getting these veterans back on their feet.
I'm going to shift to the family dynamic. Okay. It's both Jodi and I work for a family owned bank, and there's a lot of great advantages to that. The family members are all entrenched and engaged in the daily business. So when you have yourself and Brittany and Courtney, right, are pretty active in the business. Do you want to talk about what doesn't work or not? Come on, there's got to be some story you're going to tell us about I don't want to work with my sisters anymore, right?
Yeah. No, you know what? Working with family is always great. I think it changed the dynamic of our family because we would come back from school, or like I was down in Atlanta. That's where our previous headquarters was. And I'd come home after being away for a month down in Atlanta. And the first thing my mom would ask me about was something with the charity. And I was like, well, I'm okay. I'm doing great. It's Mom.
Yeah.
I'm your son. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of with your family, you just got to know when you can talk about business and when it needs to remain on the sidelines. And so I think just setting up kind of parameters and guidelines as to when that communication should take place is just really important. But sometimes the saying is like, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And we've gone out and tried to get contractors and get support with this. But when you truly want to get something done, to have your family involved, nobody's going to be more passionate about the mission that you're on than your own family. So I think it's really a built-in benefit of working with family, but there's obviously pros and cons, of course, with every working relationship. And you just need to have, I think, some guidelines and parameters. But I absolutely love working with my sisters. They're
for the record, he's going to get that public. Yep.
Yeah, I got to get that public. But I always say they're smarter and they're better looking than I am. So it's just great to have them on the team and be able to lean on them and their expertise. And Brittany, she was the co-founder of the charity. She went off and pursued a nursing degree, and she's come back with all of this experience to really help a lot of the veterans that are calling in and looking for services. She's able to provide that voice and speak that language that the veterans really are looking for when they call in looking for support. And so to have Brittany back involved, to have Courtney working for us, she's just so talented and so smart that she really helps us with all of the veterans that are coming to us. We're getting about 100 applications every, I would say, 3 days. So there's a lot of volume that's coming our way, and she's able to juggle all of the applications and still get a lot of other work done. So yeah, working with family is I think it's a positive, as long as you have the right parameters in place as when to talk about business and when to be a family.
You gave a lot of praise early on when we started talking in the bio about the support from mom and dad with this endeavor. And you also have a nice memorial page out there, right? What did dad mean to you?
Oh, my dad was everything to me. He was a hero and a great mentor and guide to me in those early days, and all outside of Cell Phones for Soldiers in my sports career, and everything that I stand for today, I learned from my father. And so we sadly lost my dad last year, and that was a major loss to my family and to the charity. But I am so inspired to kind of use the tragedy of my dad's passing into a positive and use it to I honor my dad through the success of Cell Phones for Soldiers. I truly believe that the more veterans that we are able to connect with this program is just a way for me to honor my father. So I never feel closer to my father than when I'm doing this important work, and I'm truly motivated by that. So yeah, I miss my dad a lot, but
well said. Yeah.
I want to switch it up a little bit, not to take away from talking about your dad at all in any way, because that's maybe a difficult transition to make. But I want to switch gears and talk about a partnership you have with, is it Vendidit?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
I think that might be a new deal, right?
It is. Yeah.
Did I did it?
Are you blaming Ven for it? Or?
I don't know. I feel like I need to be whacked in the back of my head as I'm trying to get that out. What does that partnership entail? And don't make me say the name again.
So you are correct. And I think they would be very happy to hear you using Vendidit as it is intended. I believe it's a Latin term for marketplace, and
I feel very smart all of this.
Yeah. But no, that partnership is huge for us, and so they're the company. So Cell Phones for Soldiers has to partner with a 3PL, a third-party logistics company that basically handles all of the logistics of donations. So I'm currently in Massachusetts. The operation is in Austin, Texas. When we get those 10,000 phones every month, we require some support in terms of opening up those boxes, identifying what the cell phones are, And it's really, it's a fascinating business of saying these phones we need to wholesale because they are selling for this amount of money. I mean, there's a matrix of decisions that has to be made every day on the donations that come in. And we leave that to the professionals that are embedded in the mobile industry to make those decisions for us. So we can be more kind of like out and up, and they're down and in on the operations, making sure that we're generating the most revenue. So Vendita is really the engine that powers the cell phone process so that we can then go and be successful on the mission side.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as he's describing what they're doing for him, like the process I had to go through to upgrade my own phone and swap out. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have people to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And we've been around for 20 years. So we've seen the donor behavior kind of change as like back in 2004 to 2010, we were getting thousands and thousands of donations because people were spending like $30 on their phone. Now people are spending over $1,000 on every device. All of the carriers have major buyback programs that you can then apply to your next upgrade. So we've seen kind of the donor behavior change. We've seen the marketplace change for where people are going with their old cell phones. Of course, if you have an iPhone 14 or above, you're going to apply that to your next device. So Cell Phones for Soldiers needs to continue to be creative in the ways that we try to attract those donors to donate to our mission. And one of those ways is obviously we're a 501c3 tax deductible nonprofit. So you can write off the market value of the device on your taxes. I know we just had tax day yesterday. If you have an iPhone 15 and that's valued at $700, you can go onto the internet, grab 3 different kind of quotes of that phone and on the date you donated it, and that's your tax write-off. And so there's great ways that we can still attract donors that are looking to get rid of a really nice phone.
Speaking of the NBA, right? We were talking about the NBA. So you're in Massachusetts, right? And
yes.
I don't know what year this was, Rob, but you might want to enlighten us. But you got an award from the Boston Celtics, right? For Heroes Among Us. What year was that?
Heroes Among Us, I believe, was in 2012. And we've Brittany and I and my family have been very blessed with the recognition we've received from different sports organizations and different associations that really appreciate our work. And so the NBA and the Boston Celtics did a really nice honorary reception, I guess, at halftime.
That's
we
awesome.
were honored with Heroes Among Us. And that's a program that the Boston Celtics do to kind of get into the community and honor what local people are doing to assist the community. And that was a great opportunity. I've really been blessed. I was able to throw out the first pitch at a Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees game.
What year was that?
That was, I think, similar. It might have been like 2013 that I was able to do that. And we hosted 30 veterans at that baseball game. And it was just a great event. So there's been incredible opportunities and for the charity and also for our family.
Jodi,
I don't even follow baseball, and I know that's an important game to get to throw the pitch.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the rivalry among rivalries,
Are you
right?
impressed that I knew that?
I did. But so I'm trying to think, was it the Celtics like the Kevin Garnett days, Paul Pierce days, or am I dating myself?
That would have been, so I know the picture, it's always a funny picture because I'm standing next to Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually taller than Isaiah Thomas. So it's after Paul Pierce. So I'm taller than Isaiah Thomas, but then I think like Gortat was on the Washington.
And he might have been close to 7 foot. So it might have been.
He's like 7 feet. Yeah. So it's a really wild picture of like, I'm taller than an NBA player and then I'm getting absolutely dwarfed by another.
You would have dated yourself if you would have been like Larry Bird.
I even took a picture. I took a picture next to Shaq when he came to Walmart one year.
Yeah. Did you feel petite?
I mean, I'm 6'2", and I thought, maybe I'm 5'2".
Maybe.
He's a big dude. So you're a Celtics fan, I take it, since you're in Massachusetts now. So Jodi, stop bringing up basketball. Just because your daughter plays doesn't mean that.
I can't help myself.
Let's just talk about other ways. You've really covered a lot of ground. You've done a great job being the brand ambassador for your company. You've had plenty of practice, though, right? 21 years is enough time.
If I can't get this right, I don't know what I can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring in Gail, and she'll have to start doing it, right? Your mom. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So, what other ways that people can contribute individually or through corporate? And I think we've talked about that. I think we talked about the target audience of being corporations that recycle or upgrade their phone equipment. but other ways individuals can go, they should go to your website still if they want to look for ways to donate and support and volunteer.
Yeah, I would just ask individuals as you're doing a spring cleaning, as a military holiday comes around, or any time of year, just go into your drawers, your around your house, and just see what kind of phones that you have that you would be willing to donate. And consider donating the cell phones to us either through our drop off locations or to mail them directly to us. And then for corporations or small businesses, if you're a small business that has a recognizable location in the community with a lot of foot traffic and you would consider becoming a drop off location, you can sign up to become a drop off location to accept donations. We'll put you onto our website. It's a great way to get unique foot traffic in the door. For corporations with employee devices, we are R2 certified, our facility is. So if corporations are worried about any data security getting off of those phones, as soon as we receive them, it's our first priority to delete all the information off those phones. And we're held to the highest industry standard for data destruction. So if corporations have employee devices and they do refreshes or turnovers, consider what is your IT department doing with those phones. We have a lot of partnerships with corporations that send us all their employee devices. We have lost and founds that after the certain cycle that people can go and claim their devices, they're then sent to Cell Phones for Soldiers and we can responsibly recycle them. So we work with a lot of airports and transit authorities that have these lost and found hotels and things like that. We work with a lot of funeral homes. Funeral homes will send us a lot of phones because as people pass away, they don't have they have their belongings and many of those are cell phones. We work with prisons and incarceration facilities that confiscate the devices and they send those phones our ways. There's just so many creative ways, and it's just up to the person that's listening to this that might have the ability to make those decisions, to think about where Cell Phones for Soldiers interact with their life, and if there's old ones that they might have access to consider sending them our way so we can continue to connect our veterans.
It's pretty cool that when your sister reached out to me and told me how exuberant you were to be able to share your story, tell our audience about who you are, because this is all one of those hidden gems thing that we stumble across them, right? And you think the name of the company, you would think, wow, they just do one. They're just really basic, right? They just do cell phones for soldiers. But to go 10-fold, 20-fold, and probably unlimited, what the potential is for this company. And maybe you need a branding company to come in and figure out, wow, they're more than just cell phones for soldiers. And let's see what they really can become. So I think it's kind of exciting to look on the horizon 5 to 50 years from now when you pass it on to other family members, and be cool.
Absolutely. We've been around for 20 years. And I think once we create the sustainability to allow us to continue to do this, I fully believe we'll be around for another 20 or 30 years. And the needs of the veteran community until there's a day when the veterans are across the board fully subsidized and their service is free and they're able to access affordable communication solutions. Until that day, Cell Phones for Soldiers is going to continue to be around to go out into the streets, go out into the woods and find those veterans that are disconnected, that even though we have the Lifeline government subsidy, I mean, that only goes so far. That requires the veteran to find that service. And many of them don't. And many of them are disconnected in the woods, on the street. And that's where Cell Phones for Soldiers goes. I mean, we partner with the organizations to go and find these most disconnected and digitally divided veterans.
As you're thinking about a story, maybe, or there's a lot of good testimonies out there about how you've helped the world. But if there is a story that comes to mind about, wow,
you've probably got a million of them.
I know. How do you find the right one and say, wow, we did this and had this impact on this person or this group, or just a story that comes to mind when you're on your road show and you're talking about your organization? Is there something that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different stories, and it's hard to just pick one testimonial that stands out from the rest. And just simply, we've had veterans say that they were in a position that they were considering taking their life, and the cell phone allowed them to call a family member, and they are with us today because they were able to make that phone call that they didn't make that decision. When you're isolated, when you're disconnected, I mean, that is when those thoughts come into your head. And when you feel like the world has passed you by, that's when you follow through with those decisions. And so to create that connection, that connectivity to a family member, to a resource that makes them reconsider that decision, that is probably the most impactful for me, just to hear these veterans. We lose 20 plus veterans every day. That's the average, that are taking their life. And we try to counter that statistic by providing them with the connectivity solution to keep them from making that decision, provide the connection to the resource that is going to continue their life and an opportunity for a better life.
Yeah, and it sounds like even as you think about rolling out the app in the future, I mean, just more ways that once you get the phone in their hand to be able to connect them to those right resources. So
that what he just said is a soundbite. We need to like carve that out and share it across the world. Yeah, soundbite, huge soundbite.
Dale's on it for sure. I think as we kind of wind down, so you started this at a very young age, and you've given all kinds of credit to your parents for helping with the stuff that you couldn't possibly know about running a business at 12 and 13.
I knew it at 8.
I'm thinking about what my kids were doing at 12 and 13, what they're doing it. Yeah. So yeah, God love you. God love you, Rob. But is there any advice you'd give to somebody that might not be 12 or 13? Maybe they're a little older, but they hear your story and they're like, okay, I have an idea. I have a way that I can positively impact veterans, military families, some other community that is in need of help. What advice would you give them as you look back over 21 years of service?
Yeah, I think it's really just to start with a mission that you truly believe in and be willing to adapt as you learn. We began with a simple idea, and we had to pivot multiple times, especially when we learned we couldn't send those phones over for security reasons.
The hard way, yeah.
Cease and desist.
The hard way. It's a lot of trial and error. Don't think that you have to have a business plan in place in order to get started. Just take that first step and learn as you go. But, if you're passionate and you work hard and you stay focused on your mission, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons we're still around, is because we never strayed away from connectivity. I mean, it was always about connectivity, and that's just our niche. And so we honed in on that. And through many, many years and hard work and the right partnerships, we were able to really grow this program. But, listen to your community, surround yourself with people who share your passion, and don't be afraid to ask for help. The most important thing is to stay connected to making a difference, no matter how small that first step might be. So I think, just really take that first step. I mean, Cell Phones for Soldiers is so much just a story of us trying to help out one guy. And it's just evolved into this massive program. But had we never tried to hold a car wash or a bake sale and continued to follow through and continue to listen to the community that we were trying to help, we wouldn't be around today. And so it's just about taking that first step and surrounding yourself with people that align with your passion and can support you in your mission.
I think when your why is solid, you'll find a way, for sure.
I say we play a game.
You like to play games, Rob?
Sure.
He's like, yeah, no, not with you two.
He talks.
Smart man.
Click. Yeah. So
I have a bad connection all of a sudden.
But Rob talked about his passion for sports and hanging out with the Celtics.
Well, this isn't going to be like, how far can you throw?
How was your first pitch anyway? Did you bounce it in or did you make it?
You didn't bounce it.
I made it.
Okay.
Strike.
Was it a strike?
It was a strike. Yep.
Do you have footage? I need to fact check that.
That's a good question. I know we have pictures.
Well, you can always Photoshop those, right?
You could just.
I had great form. I recall it being a strike.
Oh my gosh! So we are not going to play softball or baseball. We're going to play
basketball.
We're going to play in the military minute. Be the ball, as they say.
Hey, well played.
Well played.
That's a soundbite right there.
So, yes, and we should make that my ringtone on your phone when I call you. So last week's
555.
last podcast, Military Minute, I'm just going to talk over you, was tied to our guest from Support the Enlisted Troops, or STEP. And we haven't, I don't think, ever had a 3-part question, but we did.
Thanks to Jodi. Because I think he's going to know this because
You might.
He is in the know with this stuff. Yeah.
Are you a musical kind of guy?
Oh, I wish
you could only see his face.
Video, yeah.
He's like, I am hanging up now. So, okay, so you can answer any one of these 3. This question you can actually answer. Which musical group sings the song Step by Step. He's so focused.
I know.
Oh, she told me to be the ball.
And if he doesn't know it, he'll remember it for the rest of his life if he doesn't know it.
I don't know it.
Oh, okay. Let's try another one. Give me 3 steps.
Give me a tree.
Please don't sing.
What?
For the love of all that's holy, don't sing.
No.
Oh,
I think if you heard him, you might know. But
I might.
What
Yeah.
about 1-2 step? I didn't know that one at all.
Is it a new artist?
New York. I would say yes, because I don't know that I know this person very well.
She's a spouse of
somebody that plays football.
She's a spouse of Russell
Oh,
Wilson.
he got it.
He did?
I don't think anybody's ever got one of your questions.
No, but
before.
he saved himself.
Let me see you 1-2 step.
What? Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't tell him not to sing.
He's probably, well, there's a reason. There's a reason.
So let's go back to
so
the
step by
answers.
step,
Yeah.
in sync. Give me 3 steps is ZZ Top. Yeah.
Wouldn't have got that.
All I think is beards and gross,
Once you hear
gross
the artist
stuff in their
name, then the
beards.
song comes to.
Beards and gross stuff in their beards. And then Sierra, you got that 1-2 step. So fast forward to the military minute for today.
Is it Ciara or Sierra?
I don't know.
Let's go with Ciara. Yeah, it does to Russell Wilson.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go to
This
the next
week's
one.
military minute. You cannot answer this one, but wave at us if you know the answer. But our audience is going to get a shot at this one. Takes us to a question about the history of the cell phone. Very appropriate,
How about
Tom.
that?
Well played.
Yeah.
In what year was the first public mobile phone call, and by what company? Don't answer. Do you have a clue? You have any idea? I'm guessing no by the look on your face. Okay, audience. So a couple of things. On the first question, set a 3-part question from last podcast. If you put NSYNC, ZZ Top, and Sierra or whatever we decided it was as your answer, and you got all 3 right, watch for us to drop your name as the lucky winner of $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice, which could certainly go to buy minutes with Cell Phones for Soldiers. And if you know the answer to this week's question, what year was the first public mobile phone call and by what company? Drop that in the comments for this podcast. And you too could be entered to win $50 for yourself and $50 for a charity of your choice. All kinds of minutes.
And by the way, it's ZZ Top.
No, it's not.
All right.
Wrap it up.
I think I do know the answer to that last question.
Oh,
You do think? Don't say it, but you can have
I won't say it. All right. I'll tell you after.
okay.
GOOGLE. So if you enjoyed today's episode as much as Rob did, go out to afbank.com and subscribe to the show. Make sure to rate us or leave us a comment on your favorite platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yes.
And if you go to YouTube, see if you can find some guy throwing out a first pitch.
The Sox Yankees game.
Yeah, 2012-ish, and see if it was a strike. Thank you very much.
Great job, Rob. Thank you so much.
You're 1 in a million, so I appreciate your passion for what you do and for what you've done over a couple decades. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on and giving me the platform to share the mission.
Thank you so much again for spending time with us today. It's been a treat.
Absolutely.
Bye. Copyright Armed Forces Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All non-Armed Forces Bank owned apps, websites, company names, and product names are trademarks or registered trademarks of their respective owners. Their mention does not imply any affiliation with or endorsement by Armed Forces Bank of them or their products and services. They are merely used as examples of the many available apps, companies, and websites that offer similar services. Before using any app or website, you should carefully review the terms of use, data collection, and privacy policy. Apps may have an initial cost or in-application purchase features. This information is general in nature and is not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Although Armed Forces Bank believes this information to be accurate, it cannot ensure that it could change. Statements or opinions of individuals referenced herein are their own, not Armed Forces Bank. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation and respective governing bodies for applicable laws, such as irs.gov for current tax law. Armed Forces Bank, the Armed Forces Bank logo, and the Militarily Speaking logo are registered trademarks of Armed Forces Bank.